Welcome to Ex-Wives Undercover.
Liars, cheaters, and love cons.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Athena.
First, we told our story, and now we're sharing all of your craziest and most heart-wrenching stories of love gone wrong. Sometimes we laugh,
And sometimes we cry.
but more importantly,
We stand together. All right, girl. You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
The views, information, or opinions expressed on our show by our guests are solely the views of those individuals involved and by no means represent absolute facts. Opinions expressed by the host and guests may change at any time. Our podcast and YouTube show may at times cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to suicide, abuse, violence. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. So, Happy New Year.
Happy. Good to see you. We are back, and I know we've been gone forever, it feels like. I think our
Yes.
last story aired last summer. We kind of thought that for this, last episode of the year that we would kind of share with y'all where we've been and where we're going.
Yeah.
Because we have plans. We have big plans.
Yes, we do.
Mhm.
Lots of stuff going on that we haven't been able to share the details of while it was going on in 2024. And so it'll be fun to do a lot more reveals too for 2025.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we start with what we did last year? A little bit of a recap, because if people remember, we were doing stories. We were all up in season 5. We did some Todd Dean. That one was exhausting.
Yeah.
That was so exhausting because it was so crazy. And it was like
And
unfolding
many
in real
people.
time. Right.
Yeah, so many people involved, so many cons, so many lies, so many crazy Todd Dean videos.
Oh yeah.
Arf.
I mean, that was a really big story, and we were a little burnt out. But then we kind of were thinking, okay, we have a docuseries coming out. We better really tighten up seasons 1 and 2. And we'd already kind of went back in season 1. So at the end of 23 is when we kind of were like, let's put a pause in season 5 and let's go back and really tighten up season 2. Because if y'all remember, we didn't really have an ending because it was all unfolding in real time as well, just like the Todd Dean story. So we didn't really have an ending. It just kind of stopped. And so we thought, you know what? Let's go back. Let's tidy it up. Let's add some additional input because we talked to Ben's bio dad. We talked to Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
We talked to a few people. And so we did. That's what we did for the end of 23 before we picked up with season 5. So hopefully it makes sense. People feel like it came full circle. We have a nice buttoned up ending.
Can you believe we actually did 10 stories for season 5? Question for you, aside from the Todd Dean story. Wait, was that season 5 or 4? Todd Dean?
10 stories for season 5. Todd Dean was part of season 5.
So aside from the Todd Dean story, what do you think was the second craziest in your opinion?
I wish I was more shocked by things, but honestly, I'm so numb to it that even the most craziest things don't rile me up too much. The John Bragg one was pretty juicy though. He was very Brandon-esque, Ben-esque.
Yeah.
He had that vibe. I can see Ben kind of doing that.
I enjoyed all of the women, obviously, who came on to share their stories. But one thing I think that stood out for me, one of many with all of the stories, was how after we had aired the Yellow File with Kelly, I remember that Kelly was in her then husband's daughter's life, and the little girl was really little. And so when she ended things, it ended her being a part of this little girl's life. And I thought it was so cool how after that story aired, how somebody had contacted us. I think it was the ex-stepdad or the stepfather or something. And through all that, there was communication. And then Kelly got to reunite with that little girl who's not a little girl anymore. She's all grown up now. That was pretty cool.
I love that. That made me cry. That was such a unexpected little twist to the story, because you don't realize who's listening to these stories.
Yes, agreed.
And so,
what do you think?
They heard it.
Was there something that stood out to you or that kind of sits in your frontal memory?
Gosh, I love them all too. I really enjoyed Zora. her
Mhm.
story. I felt like she was so vulnerable, really bared her soul.
Yes,
And it was just powerful and just very uplifting to see her
I agree.
coming through in the
Oh,
end. And she's doing so good. And
no.
yeah, I love that one. But I feel like everyone, there's definitely some themes in kind of how we chose stories, or I don't
Yeah.
know, we kind of try to do different ones. So you'll notice that we've done stories about old flames that come back, which
Yes.
can be a little bit deceiving. I think there's like automatic trust with people that you know. So when you get recontacted,
I know.
like Alicia and Chase in season
Mhm.
3, and then
Yes.
again and with the Anna and Ted story, you just
Yeah.
feel like your guards are down because they come back and you're just like,
I
oh,
know.
you
I know.
know. We
I
also
know.
have done the money cons, the Todd Deans, the John Braggs that are the money con type ones. We've done the domestic violence and the narcissistic abuse with Carrie and David, Kelly and Brandon, Zora and Nicole and Tony. And
Yeah.
then the stalking one with Romeo
Yeah.
and Juliet. And then
Yes.
abuse of power, which was different in that there was a romantic relationship with someone who was lower ranking in a workplace environment. So
Very true.
lots of variety.
Yes. Agreed. I've even learned about, oh, what is it? Reproductive abuse. That was new for
Yeah,
me to learn. And I
me
think
too.
that was also actually in Kelly's story. I think maybe that's why a lot of that was things that I never really knew that much about until I started researching, and it's just crazy how many types of abuse, domestic abuse is out there. And, so
Would, I mean, I guess maybe I'm not understanding it right, but like would what happened with us with Brandon trying to
yes, yes.
force us to miscarry, that would that be
Or
considered?
absolutely. Or sabotage you guys trying.
Right. Oh,
Uh,
true. Yeah.
yeah. So it's could be anything from what you just said to forcing somebody to get off contraceptives or forcing them
Hmm.
to be on
Hmm.
contraceptives. Yeah, it's yeah, kind of crazy just affecting the outcome of our choice, our bodies, um,
Yeah.
and in a manipulative way, an abusive way.
These stories are really good about opening the conversation and to realize
Right.
that
Yeah.
possibly what you have experienced and what we've
Yeah.
experienced is considered abuse. I didn't know about emotional abuse,
Yes.
really. I just,
Horrible. I mean, I feel like emotional is just, I mean, they're just so equally as bad as each of the others. It really is. It sticks with you for a lifetime. It messes with you. And yeah, but moving on from there, let's talk about our special guest episodes.
yes, we didn't do very many, but I really loved the ones that we did. So we had Jake Deptula from Strictly Stalking. So he joined us on, and Love Less Fear, that's his new one. He joined
Yes.
us on our Romeo and Juliet Stalking Awareness Month.
Yes.
So
That's
I
right.
just loved having him on. I feel like we need to have him on again from a
Yeah.
dude's perspective on dating and
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah. I do too.
Yeah. And then we had Madeline the Real.
That was so fun. I find myself just watching that YouTube video because if I'm cooking, sometimes I just go back and watch it because it's funny as shit. And I just crack up laughing about, wow, you have a gallery of dicks. Or what I
Well, I
say,
know I was just going to say that. I was like,
gallery
I
of
could just
women's
replay
dicks.
that. Man, you've probably seen a lot of dicks.
You know?
It's like, that's crazy part of your job. I
Yeah.
felt like she was real. She was a very
Oh,
real,
for sure.
like,
Her name
no
is
shit,
perfect for her
no
show.
shit's given. Like, she just says it how it is. And I
I
love
love
that.
it. Yeah. So good. What
I
she's
love her
doing.
perspective too, because she sees kind of the same stories that we are seeing too.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, very true. And then Carrie Drobin.
I loved
Gosh.
her too. She's a smart lady. She has her own podcast too, and I'm spacing the name of it, but I will link it into the show notes. But she talked to us about how to divorce a narcissist, and I could have picked her brain all day long. And I wish we had her during our divorces and during our subsequent court proceedings
Oh my
because she
gosh.
was a smart
Yes.
lady.
Also, we were interviewed on other shows. That last one, that was pretty fun.
So this one hasn't aired yet, but well, in case you don't know, we won our very first award, which was very exciting. It was voted on by you guys, and it was for a best relationship podcast in 2024 by Women in Podcasting. And we're actually shortlisted for the 2024 Discover Pods Awards. So if
Good.
y'all want to go, we'll link that down below too. So
Yeah.
we're on a mission. But because of that, where I was getting at with this is that one of the ladies with a podcast called From Mrs. to Ms. reached out. And so we were a guest on her show. So it hasn't aired yet, but probably early 2025. But that was super fun.
Yeah, I feel like
Had a
we
good
kind
time.
of shocked the shit out of her a little bit with because I know that she had known about a lot of the stories that we had covered, but I don't think she realized that how we kicked off with our
Yeah.
story and it
Yeah.
being the craziest of them all for the most part. So she was just like, "Wait, what? Wait,
What?
what?"
Your ex-wife won and your ex-wife what?
She's like, oh,
Yes.
"Okay, how the hell did I miss all of this?" I'm like, "Girlfriend, I love
Yes.
this. You're gonna love it."
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, so we hope to do some more guesting. So if there is a show that you want us to be guest on, you can help pitch us to them and that'll be
Yes.
fun.
Yeah. We love meeting new hosts and the cross promoting. It's fun to
Cross promo.
yeah, it's fun to get to know everybody. And I think we all appreciate all the work that goes into it. So helping each other out and just sharing, with other podcasters. It's been very enlightening to say the least.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, let's go over the survey. Survey says,
Oh, yes. Well, yes. So I don't even know if people realize we have a survey. So before we start talking about where we're headed in 2025, I wanted everyone to know that we do listen. We do. Like I know I kind of keep my eye out on things and sometimes people don't feel like podcasters listen to what they want and we do. We listen to our reviews, we listen to our emails, we listen to you know, Facebook pages and whatnot. So, I mean, obviously we can't please everyone, but we do try our best and we take that feedback and it helps shape the seasons moving forward. So there is, I will say, a survey that will be linked in the show notes. So if at any time you want to go in and give your piece about things, feel free to send us your feedback. But I thought there'd be some good stuff that we could share from what we've received back from people
yeah,
as far as the survey. So, do you want to say what the top 3 podcast listener favorites have been besides
yeah,
ours, of
yep.
course?
So the favorites, the top 3. In third place, Elvie and La Petite Douche. And then second place runner up was the Sadie and Justin story. Gosh, that was that was tough and emotional. And then number 1, I don't think is any big surprise. It was such a crazy, huge story with so many intricate twists and turns and people and states. Is the Jill and Todd Dean story that we did on the pod. So yeah,
Yes.
you write down themes here.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out like why those stories? Why did people really resonate with those? And some of the things that I came up with was we named Todd Dean just like we named Brandon in our story.
Yes.
So I think people are nosy like us. They want to know who these people are. And I realize we cannot do that for every single story because we have to protect the person sharing the story. We have to protect ourselves from liability issues. But with the Todd Dean one, I think it was like they got to see him, they got to hear him, they got to see videos of him, they've seen pictures. I think people really like connecting to not only the woman telling her story, but also the guy. Because I think that's just a natural instinct. But we also brought in experts in Elvie's season. So we had the psychologist on, the Friends on the Internet ladies from their podcast, or Strangers on the Internet, sorry. And I think that just interviewing multiple friends and family and getting multiple viewpoints, so it's not just a one-sided story, was good. And just picking really good, juicy, fascinating stories. And what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Why do you think those 3?
I think that our lovely ladies from the South were just they had a lot of energy behind this. They were on a mission. They were not afraid to speak out. Like you said, we got to use Todd's name. And then the fact that Todd loved to hear his own voice, that he sent so many texts, so many pictures, so many videos, so many voice recordings that you really got to encompass the real story, the real Todd. And just, I think it was shocking to see all of that evidence. I think that's what kind of pushed them for sure to number one. I think Sadie and Justin for sure. That was emotional. Again, playing out in real time.
Mhm.
And the physical stuff, it was just a reminder how this stuff happens all the time. And then, yeah, like I think it was a nice change up with the LV story and then the craziness of the other girlfriend and LV
Oh, that's
kind of
right.
going back and forth. And there's some twists and turns there. The
For
follow up.
people who don't know, I will give a little explanation in case they're like, what other girlfriend? Because we did an update episode with Elvie for Patreon. So if you're just a regular subscriber, you probably don't know about this juicy tidbit, but we had one of the ex-girlfriends reach out and it was very, I don't even know how crazy. She kind of started stalking us and our page and she was making all these fake profiles. It got really
Yeah.
nutty, but
Yeah.
that's on our Patreon. We'll get to Patreon later, but that
Yeah.
kind of gives a little explanation. But I think just, yeah, I think all of the stories were just really good, but those three just kind of stood out. And I think there's the Todd Dean girls, they just had charisma and sass, and we laughed and we cried.
Yeah.
There was so much dynamics
There
going on
was
with like Roxy and her best friend Kit and trying to save her from this predatory guy. And
yes. Oh my gosh.
me and
Yes.
Jill just laughing on that first episode. I laugh at myself because
Yeah.
I just, my mouth is on the ground and I'm like, don't give him money. Don't do it.
I
I
know.
knew it was going to happen. And I'm just like, oh God, cringing. And I
Yeah.
think I can't even tell you how many times we've received comments of like, I can barely listen to that man's voice. I'm so icked out, just ick. And I'm like, tell me about it. We had to listen to that all day,
you know how
all
many
night.
selfies we saw of him? And
Oh,
a lot of them we could never put on the video because
if
they
you
were
thought
not-
you were icked out listening to it, try editing for hours all day, every day, with like having to replay the like, do you have like $25? Like, hey, beautiful.
I know.
So gross.
I know. Well, yeah,
Oh,
agreed.
the
agreed.
underwear selfies. Oh,
Oh
God.
the underwear selfies.
Oh,
Why?
it's
Why?
so bad.
Yeah. Little
Oh my
PTSD.
God.
Yeah. That's why it
Oh,
stuck with all of us. We had a lot of I think we had the most commentary, like comments from our listeners about just, oh please. Oh, why?
I
Why'd you catch
know.
that audio? Make it up. Make it stop.
Make it stop. I
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so
But
what other highlights, what other feedback do you feel like you really noticed you got back from the surveys?
yeah, so a lot of people were saying that they wanted the episodes to be an hour or longer. Like
Okay.
the longer the better. So I know some of our episodes have been 30 minutes because I just wasn't sure. I'm like, are you going to work? Are you like, I don't even know, driving in your car and you don't have time to sit for a 2-hour episode. And
Can I
so
just say, I'm so glad to hear that result because we all know I am so long-winded and ADHD takes me a lot just to get out the basics, but I'm working on that, I promise. So if
well,
they wanted a short one, that was going to be really tough for me. So
we'll get to the feedback part because there's a part where they're saying, just get to the point.
damn it. See, I'm
Feedback.
working on it. I just feel like I love the little information, all of it.
Everything.
And I
Yeah.
think that everybody else does, but they don't. So I'm going to work it like, just like
Yeah. Just
getting to the point. But of course,
but
there's
all the
relevant
important stuff is
information.
in there.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't need all the extra fancy adjectives. And yeah, I'm going to get better at this, guys. Promise.
Yes.
Okay.
So you want to take the next
Oh, yes.
interesting
But
tidbit?
a majority want episodes released all at once. Yeah, I mean, just like streaming TV shows, of course we do. But it's hard because we have busy lives and you have a job. I've got crazy stuff happening. And so I think it just takes a lot of time, I think, to get it all done and then put it out. Where the way we do it is we're always working and releasing to make sure that we can
Yeah.
get everybody.
I think also people forget that, you have a lot going on in your house. I work a full-time job. So if we handed over all of the episodes all at once, y'all gonna binge them and then the next day be like, okay, I want a new story. I'll be like, I don't have another story to put out there. Like I have to drip it, like
Yeah.
pace it out a little bit. I realize that people do want them all at once though. So
Because I would too. So like
I know, I would too.
get it. Sorry.
Give us some grace there on that one.
Maybe in the future.
A lot of people found out about us through their podcast apps too. You might also like this. So I always wondered like how people hear about our show. Is it word of mouth? Is it the top charts? Is it, I don't know. But it sounds like most people did find us through you might also like. Yeah, no. So like when you're in Apple Podcasts at the very bottom, if you click on Ex-Wives Undercover and you scroll to the bottom, there's different podcasts and it'll say, because you like this show, you might also like Ex-Wives Undercover. Same with Spotify.
Yeah, I always do that with my TV shows, like on Netflix or Hulu or Prime or whatever. It's like you may also like, I'm like, get on these kicks of like random shows. Lately, my mom got me watching like Mayfair Witches or something, and I was like, ooh, this was good. So then I started watching. No, I think I told her about Mayfair Witches. But anyways, I started getting this weird thing. So I'm like, you might also like, and then I'm trying to binge them, and I'm like, I can't find any more, but that's such a great idea. Yeah. Sounds like an even split between wanting more content versus quality over quantity.
I tend to err on the side of quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Because I don't want us to ever get into that place. Because I
do feel like apart for editing like we did when we first started. They never do that.
Because we were just kind of, I don't know. I just want people to know that we care about the topic. We care about the editing. We're trying to do better. We've taken feedback from earlier seasons and we try not to talk over each other and all the things, but I want people to like, recommend us. I don't want them to be like, man, they're just like pushing out shit just to do it. Like, I want them to be like, that was a fucking good story. That was so good. I'm going to tell my friend about it. So as much as like, I know people love these stories, I want them done well. And I don't want them to be like, man, they sold out. Like, they're just like throwing out whatever hodgepodge together shit of not good research, not good interviews, just not good stories.
We don't have a company that we work for. What do you call that? Like
we're not with Wondery. We're not with any of like the big people. And even those places nowadays, the way podcasting is, they don't provide editors, a lot of them anymore. So it's on us to.
Do they filter stories?
No, most people don't. Some people do. Like I believe Dating Detectives has a producer and some people do. But
it takes a little more time for us to find these stories,
vet them out.
Yeah, they're accurate. Make sure we're keeping your life private for security reasons if need be. So we have to do the front end work, the middle, the back end, and so and
then balance family time and personal lives with everything. So
we don't have a quota to meet, so we don't have to rush through and spit them out. But there's a sweet spot in the middle. And I feel like we're pretty much there.
I want to be able to go online in our Facebook group and people are like, when are you coming back? I don't want them to be like, oh God, here's another stupid story that they're going to put out. I want them to miss us. I want them to be, it feels good. Like, oh, they do like us and they want to hear from us. They value what we're doing.
I think our fans like me more than my children sometimes. So I'm like, hi, I need somebody to be nice. It's like, somebody said something nice. Yay. Instead of like, hi, Mom.
I'm going to get on my little soapbox for a second. I feel like we're always listening. We're always open to how we can improve. How do we make it better?
Yeah.
But like, we have multiple ways to reach us. So when I see a 1-star review going, this fucking sucks and your episodes are out of order, I'm like, what do you mean they're out of order? And I don't use Spotify. So this is just an example. I'm like, all they had to do was send us an email going, hey, did you know your episodes are out of order? And I'd be like, oh my gosh, we're going to fix that because I didn't know it. But on Spotify, when we relaunched season 2, the dates pushed. So it could be like season 4 and then season 2 and then season, you know what I mean? So if you're on season 1, it doesn't automatically go into season 2. You have to fish through, on Spotify. But I don't use Spotify, so therefore I didn't know. Exactly. But all she had to do instead of giving us a 1-star was just email us. Just send us a note saying, hey, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but
especially to bring attention so we can fix it.
So it's a bummer. It's a bummer for 1-stars, but we're always open to how we can improve. So are you ready to hear how we can improve?
Yes.
Editing and getting to the story. Just get to the mofo story.
All right.
I think the editing is mostly seasons 1 and seasons 2 primarily. But I will say this, season 1, the reason it's a little bit clunky still is because when we went to go fix it, we
Yeah.
didn't have all the original audio from our original interviews. We lost it because we left the platform that we were using.
Yes.
So we just had to make an executive decision about if we re-interview ourselves, maybe the magic's going to be lost a little bit because there
Yes.
was something to that original just being green and not knowing what we were doing. And
being in real time, uncovering
yeah,
stuff between each
so
other that
yeah,
we were just finding stuff out still. Like,
yeah,
I
like
love
there's
it. It's all
background
right.
music, right? There's background music in season 1 that we were not able to take out from the interview
Yes. I'm
because it
still
was
gonna keep trying.
together.
I'm gonna keep trying.
And
And my weird
so,
sound, what do you call that? Sound effects. I'm sorry. I love them. Amber was like, "Do we need to?" And I was like, "They're so fun. That makes us different." And everybody's like, "The harmonica sound, make it go away." I was like, but I loved it. I'm like, "Fine now, okay."
so, long
Yeah.
story short, we tried our best to tidy up season 1 as best as we could. We took out the repetitiveness, but it's still a little clunky just because we lost a lot of footage. But we wanted to keep the magic of those original interviews. So it
Yeah.
is what it is. Sorry, don't tell us about the editing. We know. Therefore, when we got to season 2, it does get significantly better. And then seasons 3, 4, or 5, I feel like we've made leaps and bounds. So I feel like when we get these, I kind of take it with a grain of salt because I feel like you must be talking about the
But what if
first
they're
2.
not? What if they still hate our editing?
I mean, I haven't
Love to
noticed
know.
any.
I would
Yeah.
love to know because, or when they talk about the background music, it is so light now and very chill
Yeah.
that
I
I'm
don't,
just like, are they talking about 1 and 2, or do they still feel this way? I don't know.
I feel like it's seasons 1 and 2 because
Okay.
it's been a long time since we've had the really bad reviews on sound and stuff. But
Yeah.
a lot of people wanted more experts, which we did start using in season 5. So you
Yeah.
saw that in the Todd Dean. Wait, was it Todd Dean? No, sorry. John Bragg. We started with John Bragg, Elvie's episode. So, and we do have more experts coming on for season 6. So we hear you. We're we're getting some more experts. And then yeah, the structure of the podcast episodes and seasons. I think that's the lady who was like, it's out of order. 1 star for you. Fixed it. Oh, you could read this next one. It's not how we could
Option.
be better, but it's just a cute comment that someone made.
Keep being human. Please don't start acting like you're better, even though you are. That was a comment. Please
Yeah.
keep being human. Please don't start acting like you're.
Just
Wow.
stay
I like
humble. Just stay
that.
humble. Be cool.
Being human is being down to earth and being real, even when we do get, people talking crap. And I think that's why we can be relatable. Sometimes people don't just spill everything out there, but they think about it. They feel those things. So to hear us say it, it's like, oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
my dream board list, like it's not that crazy. And I think people could laugh, people could go, okay. And other people want to talk shit because they just want to. And I think that was me being authentic. So I've decided I'm just going to keep being real, keep it real.
Yeah. And I think also this person's wanting, I'm guessing they're probably a fan from the very early stages when we only had a few hundred people listening. And now
Yeah.
we have over 4 million downloads. And so we've grown so much that I think they just, I'm like, don't buy into your own bullshit. Like, don't think you're this cool, famous podcaster. Stay the way you guys were from the very beginning, which I think that we have. I don't feel like we're
Yes.
full of ourselves or think we're better than everyone. Like I don't personally. So
I
I hope
do.
that we still, and I hope people will keep us grounded if we do start acting like that. But
Yeah.
I
It's not
don't
like
foresee
we're
that
making
happening.
a bunch of money or something. We promise we will not go off the deep end or act too cool or, yeah.
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 I mean, obviously, we'll get to this part later when we address the advertisements that are just now hitting our show. But like, we've been
Yeah.
doing this for free,
Yes.
for 4+ years now. So we do it because we love it and we love the community that we've built and the stories that we're sharing. And so I think that resonates with people. I hope,
Yeah.
anyways. And okay, what's the next one?
Okay. So option for bonus or early access episodes, which for those, that don't know this, you can have that. So Patreon, go to Patreon. Our link is everywhere. Our website, probably on every episode show notes. You could probably find the link there. And with that, you'll get all the bonus episodes since we've been off the mainstream streaming platform on the weekly stories. We've continuously been doing the bonus episodes. So those are on Patreon. The juicy stuff, the follow-up stuff, the bonus content. Yeah, you want more, Patreon. And it's cheap.
And now that we're starting season 6, you will get early access. So it's only $3 a month. So it's a lot cheaper than some of people's monthly subscriptions. So hopefully that doesn't break the bank for too many people. It's like a cup of coffee and you do get early access.
Like a gas station black coffee or Starbucks black coffee.
Right.
I mean, a latte is probably more expensive. So come on, man. Patreon it up with us.
The other thing is people wanted more LGBTQ and fewer gender stereotype stories. And honestly, we don't get very many people writing in. So I would totally cover those. But I think there was like one that we got last year for season 5. And I followed up 10 million times with this lady and she just did not respond back when I tried to set up those initial calls. So I agree. We should have more diverse stories, but we just have to have people write it to share those stories. And
because my friends and I wonder if my stepbrother would be willing.
Oh, he's probably got some juicy stories.
He just went through a lot. That's this exact content, but it's a lot.
Okay.
But I wonder if I could get some information to have him spread the word about the pod to his, closer friends or circle of people, because and even I remember a couple of my girlfriends in the dating scene in Seattle, girls dating girls, that shit can be crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine all the emotions and stuff, the stories that my friend Lauren would tell me. Oh my God. I'm just like, she's like, we're crazy. I'm like, she's like,
well, maybe she needs to come on the podcast.
Well, since then, she actually years later has now married a man.
Oh, well, shoot. Okay.
So she was open.
Well, speaking of, like, this is one, people can go to our website or email us. Do we want to hear from men crazy stories? Because we're ex-wives. The title of our show is women focused, right? Like, what would people think if we told a man's story? Would they be open to that? Curious.
Yeah. I think I would love to have that. It's just, we have to vet it to make sure because of the sensitivity, I think. Both ways, obviously, men and women. But in addition, I thought it would be really neat to have a male guest host to even just get their feedback on what they're hearing from our listener story. That would be kind of interesting, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Jake,
so.
Where you at,
I know,
Jake
Taptula. I was like, come be the male perspective. And he's got his Love Less Fear show now. So
he's busy for us. And I'm just
dipping his toes into all the crazy that we cover as well. But
yes.
Okay.
And the
last one. Oh, sorry. As we literally do exactly what they don't want us to do, which is
talk over each other.
Sorry.
I know.
I can't help it. It's so hard. You know what it is? It's really like, I even put myself on mute during our interviews. And then I'm like reacting, and then I have to unmute myself and start over. And I'm waiting for like the moment to like get in there. But some people just talk, and you can't find a little opening. So you kind of have to just get in there and say what you need to say.
And guide them to the next question or to like wrap that little part. It's just like, okay, but
I know.
I try to take those pieces out, but then
It's hard. I feel like we're better though. Don't you think?
We are better, but I own it. I'm sorry, guys.
I do too. I'm sorry.
It's a work in progress.
It's just what it is.
Yeah. And I will admit, I'm with my ADD and getting older and being brain fried most of the time. If I don't spit that shit out, I'm not going to remember what I was going to say. So I'm like,
so true.
Yeah.
So true. So, I know. Like I have it in my head. I'm like, oh, I got to say it. And then we're going to move topics. And then if I don't like say it now, we're going to move topics and I'm going to forget it. So I'm with you on that. So
yes.
Anywho, we're going to wrap up this section. So we're going to leave the link to our show note or link to the survey in our show notes. Okay. So you can tell us what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. But it does help us in planning stories moving forward. So yeah.
Amber,
should we talk about
You're so good at
I
this
know.
shit.
I know. See, we are the perfect like yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
Brunette, blonde, ADHD, OCD. Like, I mean, I feel like this is it.
Oh my God, that is probably the best thing you've said in a long time. ADHD and OCD. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I have to be organized.
I
It
know.
stresses me out if I'm not organized.
No, you're so
Like I
good.
just planned our next freaking through July stories. You probably don't even know what we're talking about. So I'm like,
I'm like,
I have it all
nope.
dated and mapped out and like, yeah, we have some good shit coming up the pipeline. But you do know, bless you, you do know our first big story. You want to give a high level to this
Yeah.
one? I
Oh
actually named it too, and you can tell me if you like it or not. But doesn't that sound fun? Because
my
he's a
God.
ghost hunter
You're so
and
good.
he ghosted her,
Fucking
and
love it.
it's a good SEO keyword.
Yes.
Ghosted.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Okay.
God. Okay, yeah. So Amber, I think we talked about this before in a different Patreon bonus episode, but all of a sudden we had, or maybe we didn't, I don't know, but we had all of these views on our TikTok and it was like, what is going on? And Amber, Detective Amalou, she's just like, figures out that we got tagged from this huge TikTok gal, Mama Tot, who had heard this woman's story. And her name is Lori. And Lori's husband she'd come home and he had just ghosted her, which is going to be the title of this story, and taken everything, cleaned out the accounts. It was her retirement, everything. It was just crazy. And then as we got to dig into more of the story, we will learn about Richard Ruland, who is a paranormal. He claims to be a paranormal expert,
Ghost
medium,
hunter.
psychic. He's a ghost hunter. He goes into places and he, I don't know, does his thing. He leads tours for hauntings in buildings and hotels and wherever else. But we go on to find out that, and this is actually still unfolding as well in real time, which is crazy. So during this time that Amber and I have gotten to know Lori, we found out now about 5 other wives that,
No, there's like 8.
yes, but I knew of a few of them and now like there's more.
Oh, yeah, there's like 8 total though.
So many,
It's
and they
wild.
kind of just go one after the other, and his pattern's the same where he just finds these women. He has this type, he manipulates, he love bombs and gets in quick. And then
Like he lied about his former job, which
oh,
is
that pissed
super
me off.
interesting. Yeah,
Yes.
and I think illegal.
Illegal for sure. He claims to
Yeah.
be a New York police officer, but I actually call the precinct where he claims to work and they've never heard of him. And then later we get audio confirmation and other texts and things where he admits that he wasn't. Although on a YouTube video, he
Yeah.
states this online during an interview that he was, and that's how he got into the ghost hunting, that he was a police officer and he was on a call. And so, yeah, he is a bad guy. He is not cool. And we're going to expose him and help protect other women because he does this all the time. So, this is going to be a big one, a crazy one, kind of similar to the Todd Dean one, a little bit different, but
It's pretty juicy.
it is.
We're hearing from multiple women,
Yeah.
coworkers, family
Yes.
members. It's a good one. It's a
It is.
good one to start season 6. And she's such a sweet lady. I love her to death. It's devastating to hear,
Yeah.
like such a pure-hearted person that someone could do what he did to her and left her in shambles, but she's so strong.
We won't tell them everything, but there's stuff that just recently happened to her that
Yeah.
she's going through because of him and his retaliation. And it's just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Yeah. Awful, awful. So this will be a roller coaster of a story for sure, emotionally. And then, but I will say you are going to have some crazy laughs because one of the ex-wives, I think she's ex-wife number 2 or 3, Melissa, she is so flippin' hilarious. And she creates these poems. She actually made one for me and I cried.
Oh,
On her TikTok.
oh,
It was the nicest thing somebody said about me probably in a very long time. And the way she viewed me, it was like, I was like, are you psychic? Like, do you know what's going on in my life too? I'll have to send it to you, the link.
Oh, that's so
But the
sweet.
other ones are so fucking funny. Where she's just talking shit about her ex-husband. And these women, the exes have teamed up, the ex-girlfriends, the ex-fiance, to join together. Even people from Richard's past family members that he's done dirty. They all come forward and they all have a lot to say. So there's going to be some funny laughs in there. But yeah, it's a wild one. A lot going on.
Oh my goodness. Then we are
Yeah.
doing Jessica's story, which we've made announcements in our Patreon, which is your sister. So people who've listened to season 2, heard about the passing of your sister. And so we are going to tackle that story. It's probably one of the most true crimey stories that we've done. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no questioning this is a true crime story. And
Right.
just to get to the bottom of what should have been already buttoned up
Yeah.
by the police and the legal
Yes.
system.
And it's still an ongoing open case. The investigation is done, but the file's still open, ready, supposedly, to go into queue for the judge. But they've been telling me that for the last, few years. So it's
Yeah.
crazy. So we're going to get into that. What happened with her, create, more awareness, I think, for other people. And then also expose what happened in her case with the legal system. So that's equally as important, I believe. Try to get a little justice, some media attention, to help get my sister some justice. So yes, that one we are playing by ear because getting all of the legal and police reports, all the legal files takes a very long time, has to all be redacted before they send it to me. This month, I should be getting the first installment because we want to do it right. And we need to make sure we have all the facts, all the evidence, everything. Case report, all the interviews, videos, body cam footage.
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot.
actually, Jake Teptula put us in touch with a criminologist, or is that what
Yeah.
it's called?
Yeah, she's a criminologist.
Yeah. So she's going to help. We have a lot of interviews to do. So that probably will be later in season 6. But we do have some other juicy ones. We have I'm calling it the Popo Playboy. He's a naughty, naughty police officer that had lots of ladies. And there was even a murder involved in this story. It's kind of wild. And he was, not that he was involved in the murder, but he was connected to this murder. So that's a crazy one. We just got another one that came through about religious abuse. And I think we have not talked about that so much. So that's a really good story coming down the pipeline.
The story about, the couple married for 20 years, about the cheating, prostitutes, sex clubs, wife swaps. I'm just like, are we in Bellevue, Washington? Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be a whole other crazy dive into that world of that lifestyle crazy. So that's going to be eye-opening.
Something that probably people have noticed is that we do have advertising on our podcast. You may hate it, you may love it, you might be in the middle, but it does honestly help offset some of the cost and time associated with creating it. So it's a really amazing company called True Native Media. And so we signed with them. Gosh, when was that? Over the summer, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not, it's not like a Wondery or anything like that. We're not affiliated with a network like that. They just only do advertising
that we can personally endorse, that we've used the product, tried it, or believe in it. So it's not just like a free-for-all.
Yeah. Like the Host Red ones are ones that we personally have tried. So the Happy Mammoth, the Quince. I love my sheets, man. My sheets are amazing.
I'm
ordering more.
You did? And my husband loves the cashmere sweaters. I ordered him pants from there for Christmas.
Did you use our code? Did you get your little discount?
You know what? I tried, but they don't really do a discount. I think it's like free shipping.
Oh, what it was. I thought it was. Oh, dang it.
Or maybe because we're done. I don't know. All I know is that the Apple Watches, they have beautiful leather bands for those at great prices because their Italian leather is. Anyway, yeah, I was like, thanks, Quince. I fucking love them.
I know people will probably just wonder, like, how come there's ads? The other thing I want to address, because I didn't realize this, So please give us grace. Do not give us a 1 star because of the ad placements. So I didn't know this, and neither did you, but we have a huge backlog of episodes. So when you first sign up to an ad agency like this, they automatically input your ads, and it's not always in the best location. So it could be like mid sentence. And it
Oh
would take
no.
days and weeks to go and fix every single one. So moving forward for season 6, we get to choose where those ads are placed now. So we will do a better job on placing them in appropriate spots within the episode. But all of the backlog, you might notice there's some wonky placements of ads, and it's not our
Oh.
doing. So it is what it is. So
I noticed a little bit, but I never noticed like a mid-sentence one. But I've noticed as to where it was cut
yeah,
off in the middle of like an interview instead of waiting for that portion,
yeah.
that segment to be done. I was just like,
That's weird.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think that's
yeah,
good info to
sorry.
know.
Also, for the people who are like, damn it, I hate ads, I hate them. So there is four ads total. So you'll notice 1 in the very beginning and 3 in the middle section. So always know going in, you can skip over that, or listen. If you don't want to listen to ads, we do have our Patreon, which we mentioned. It's $3 a month. You get bonus content, access to me and Athena, early access to things. We're going to start putting all the evidence because obviously we have to fact check things when we do these stories. So evidence, pictures, text messages, all the things. So Patreon. And we've had some good stories. We've had secret docs that Ben sent to me, a whole episode on that. We've
Yeah.
had our docuseries behind the scenes info. We've had past guests. We had Jill and Roxy on giving Todd Dean updates, and all of our Sadie, Alicia. We did a juicy one with the Stankos. Something wrong with the
Oh,
Stankos.
yeah.
That
That
was
was great.
an influencer that had some drama. And so we did a special bonus episode with her, or about her, I should
Kenzie,
say.
Kenzie
Kenzie from Something Was Wrong.
yeah, we
What
did an
what
update.
season was that? Was that 13, I believe?
I
Season
think,
13 of Something Was Wrong. It's
yeah.
Kenzie. And she came on to talk about what the hell it's like to be doxxed publicly. Like,
No,
that is wild. It was a wild story. And she's so sweet. And she just got engaged recently. And she's happy girl.
she
So,
deserves it. Yeah, she deserves it. She's been
yes.
through a lot. Yeah.
So, anywho, not to
Yeah.
plug the Patreon too much, but it is an option if you just
But
really don't
plug.
want ads. Yeah, but plug. Can we give any updates on the docuseries? What can we say?
Oh,
They won't get us
okay.
in trouble because we have signed a big old contract. So we don't want to get
Well,
sued.
yeah.
But everyone wants to know what the hell's going on. Are we doing it? Are we not doing it?
Well, I
Anything that we
will
can share.
give one little clue. They already know it's a very big United States. Actually, yeah. Are they
No, it's
national?
global.
Yeah, they're a big
global.
streamer, a really big one here. With a lot of huge hit shows there, and we have a secondary network in another country who's also a part of this. So for anybody who can't view some of the content, or if it's not available to you, there'll be a second option that we will obviously share more details. So anybody and everybody can watch it. I'm hoping that more people, Europe or Asia, Africa, where that they hopefully will be able to have more access to it.
People probably wondering when the fuck it's coming out, and we don't know that actually. So I think what we can share without getting in trouble is that we have filmed. It's all filmed. We did that over the summer, which is why we took a break from recording. So we filmed it. It's now in the editing
We
process.
did it all the way through October.
Yeah. It was a lot.
There's
It's a lot. Like, it's so exhausting, but it's all buttoned up as far as our part and other people who are talking in the series part. So it's in editing right now. I think there was some talks initially that maybe it might be a spring release, but I feel like it's probably going to be summer, which would coincide with like the Crime Con. So we can really do a big blitz of promotion once we have more details that we can share. But it's probably going to be like, I'm guessing like the second half of 2025. And you'll see people that have spoke before, some people that have not spoke before.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really good.
There's a lot of
good
that people haven't seen or heard.
I know. And I felt like we covered everything really good in the podcast, but this will have even more perspective, I think.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just don't judge us on our pretend acting or B-roll.
That's true. Oh my gosh, you guys. I mean, I think we can say like a few things that's not going to give away, but like you have like a whole new respect for movies
Oh
and
my
stuff
goodness.
because there's this thing called B-roll, right? So you have the interview where you're sitting and talking, sharing your story. But then there's B-roll, and B-roll's like all those like segments when you're watching a true crime, and I notice them now. I don't know about you, but I notice when
Video
I'm watching it.
footage that
Yes, like they're
they
walking down the
story.
street, they're on their computer, they're in a cafe, and
They're
you
looking
don't.
under the bed or looking behind their shoulder. And I
Yes.
stop, I'm like,
One moment where he's like, you're doing this, and then you have to act surprised, and I'm like, he's like, not that surprised. It's not that bad. Not like, oh my god.
no.
Because then I get the giggles because I'm like, I can't do this. It's so stupid. There was like another time where I was like supposed to get out of my car, and all of a sudden you're like, I feel like I'm walking funny. Am I walking funny? You
Yeah,
know what
my,
I mean?
my hair extension showing in the back. Which I thought one time too. I was like, oh, can we just make sure? And then how
Yes.
big does my butt look from behind? We
Oh
all
yeah.
know my kids call me Big Booty Judy. It's for a reason.
Oh yes.
And but there was one funny part where I could not stop laughing, and I'm going to this gas station, and the guy says it's okay, but people are really like, you have to get the okay before you can just obviously film. So like I'm going in and they're telling me to get like snacks and stuff. I swear every single time I go for this big long beef jerky stick.
Oh,
And I keep telling myself to do something else. And then I'm like walking and I have to walk back and people are like kind of coming in or whatever.
what
But
is happening?
then they're like on the outside filming and I just could not help myself. It was the very, very end of the night and we start early and we go all night, like really late. I think it was like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And there's a sunglasses display and they're on the outside of the window and it's right in front of it. And I just couldn't help it. I just walked up there and I just put them on, these ugly, and I just start cracking up laughing. Well, somehow, one of the people with the production staff, she took a picture. They got a clip anyway. They sent it to me the other day and I'm like making like
Oh
these
my
funny
gosh.
faces. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, yeah, we had some fun for sure, but
It
it's
was fun, but it's grueling. It's so tiring. And
very repetitious.
there's
Do that
also this
over.
thing.
Walk again.
Oh,
500
walk again. Do
the same
this.
way.
Say this. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a moment too. Do you remember this? Like the first day that me and you filmed together
Yes.
and we're mic'd up. And of course, we had a bad experience like a couple of years ago looking chubby on camera. It was a really bad camera angle. So we're
Oh,
always like, don't make us look fat. Don't make us look bad on like no bad angles, okay? So but we forget that we're mic'd up. So you come rolling in and we have a table set up, but I'm on the edge of the table. So I'm like, oh God, my gut's probably showing, my fat
no.
arm, like and
You're like
and
my
so
face
I
and
had
my
I had
shirt.
asked them like, is this a bad angle? Because you can't see the monitor. And they're like, no, you look fine. And then and then you go and do something, you come back and you're like, I saw a peek of the monitor. It's not the most flattering. And I was like, damn it, I
No,
swear.
they said something like that part it doesn't even show up. But then when I went
Right.
around and I was like,
And
yeah,
she's all thinking she's sly.
yeah,
She's like, Amber, just so you know, I saw and you can see that part. And we're thinking we're being sly. And all of a sudden he goes, I can hear you. You're mic'd up.
he's like, okay,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
he's so great. Oh, I love
okay.
him. Yeah, that was
Not
so.
sly in any way. We're like
Whenever I was trying to
whispering.
shift the table, like
Yes.
yes, I was like, yeah, I got your back. And then he's like,
I
okay,
can hear
I
you.
I can hear you. Let's fix it. I was like, oh, duh. Or wow, I forgot I'm peeing in the bathroom.
Right?
Mic off.
It
Yeah.
makes you like think about reality shows, how they get caught saying
Yeah.
things because you
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
So even though you're whispering, they're like, I can totally hear you. And I'll just say this before we close it up. My God, so many freaking airplanes flying over during my interview. It's like you're right in the middle of saying something in an airplane. So like waiting, or we'll be at a restaurant and someone's banging, someone's making noises. It is
Um,
insane.
oh yeah. We
Like,
had for me being by the lake, it was so many and on the main road. It was this gorgeous lake house, but it was like so many loud delivery trucks going back and forth. And
oh yeah.
then um what do you call those? The planes that land on the water? Water.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what they're
Mm-hmm.
called. Constantly. And then the number one of all, which shout out, you did your job amazingly, was the leaf blower who came throughout this private neighborhood blowing leaves 24/7. It was like start, stop, start, stop,
Oh
start, stop.
yeah.
And then they've
It's no
got,
wonder they have like 16-hour days because
yeah,
you have to have everything quiet, everything. You can hear, I mean, just, And then, of course, then you have the looky-loos. So when you're doing your B-roll, you're out in public. So everyone's like, what's that? Who's that? And you're like, I'm nobody.
oh, thank
I am an
you.
absolute nobody. Driving the car.
With the huge camera mounted on the front. I loved it. This little boy was like, oh, hitting his little brother. Mom, look, they rolled down the window. They waved to me. And I was like,
I
hi,
know.
everybody. And
Nobody.
then, oh, I think I'm somebody. Nobody.
I
I mean,
know.
I am a somebody, but not the somebody that I
Oh,
might be. I don't know.
I know. I think the funnest part was like, I've watched a million documentaries, as have you, and we all know like the little clip,
Yes,
like in the
yes.
very front. And I'm like that first day, like, oh, I got the clip. Like, and then I was like, oh, this is the part where I come walking into this shot and I sit down. I was like, I've seen that a million times in other documentaries, and now here I am
I
with my
know.
own little thing. It's so funny. It was just such a surreal experience. So
Yes,
funny, just
I know.
weird.
It was awesome.
Everyone wants to know what's going on with Ben. What can we share?
Brandon wrote me a letter from prison.
What?
I got it a couple of days ago, but it was
To you or
to
Sydney?
me.
Oh, don't
I
fall
know.
for it. What does it say though?
I thought for
Because
sure.
now we all want to know.
Yeah.
Now we're
No,
like, what?
I actually
Huh?
thought he would be like trying to kiss my ass because he keeps calling and I
Yeah. Merry
accepting
Christmas.
any of his calls. No, it was me
Oh,
telling me that he's researched all these things for Sydney and her health issue and that, he would do anything for her if he could, but obviously he can't. So I should buy this $1,000 medical equipment and I should do some more research and just like he just wrote down all this stuff that he'd researched. And I was like, okay, that's it.
random. Probably because you won't take his phone calls. Well, I
Yeah.
guess you should probably let people know that obviously we're not going to reveal Sydney's health issues, but there are some underlying health issues that have been going on and you've been trying to get to the bottom of it. And because of that, you needed to contact him because of anything that could have been passed on
Family.
from him. Yeah.
Yeah. Family
So that, of
genetics.
course,
Medical
open the
information.
door. He's been Mr.
Yes.
Happy Pants and
Mr.
super
Helpful.
nice.
Like,
Yep.
that's all you get. Bye. And then thankfully his bio cousin, Rebecca, thankfully reached out. So I got to get the rest of it from her for that side of the family. Don't need to hear his voice. Cause it's like a little gross.
Yeah.
And I had to put him in his place. He was being,
Well, once you
Brandon.
crack open that door, he will push the door open. And we all know how these types of personalities work anyways. Like you cannot give them even an inch, not even a half an inch. You cannot because
he's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's a whole new man.
He's a
Whole new man. I'm waiting for
So-
that story of I've
so much
retrained
work
my
he's doing on
brain.
himself. Yeah.
Oh, I
I
didn't
mean, I hope
almost kill
so,
someone.
but
That's not me. That's not who I am. I don't do
never.
that. Never.
Never, but you did that 10 years prior when you were with me, but okay.
Anything else other than get ready for the A-Team? We will be back soon.
Yes.
We're aiming for February 2025 with the launch of season 6.
Yep, with Lori's story.
And
Tuesday, start with a bang.
Starting with a bang.
I'm excited.
Thank you all for sticking by us through the years, really. And 2024 has been a lot of stuff going on in 2024. So I am excited to see how everything unfolds in 2025.
Agreed.
We could be getting a huge influx of listeners and new people hearing the story for the first time. So
yes, very true. Yeah.
Hopefully that'll open the doors.
A lot of unknowns, don't you think?
Because I know when we first started this, we wanted to do a speaking tour to talk to young girls in colleges and things like that to really educate them when they're young. So hopefully this will open doors and we'll keep an open mind and see what happens.
That's right. And once again, if you like what you're hearing, please leave us a 5-star review and make sure to join our private Facebook group for even more juicy info. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And of course, you can always visit our site at www.exwivesundercover.com.